Hello, and welcome to the newest episode of the Drive Home Podcast. Okay, today I got out at 8, and this is the this is the podcast where I'm the only one who needs to buckle their seatbelt, technically, but, man, I just thought of a better seatbelt joke. You guys are gonna want to strap yourselves in for this podcast, though not really. Anyway, let's get this podcast on the road. I got out at 8 tonight. I go back tomorrow, which is cool. I don't really care. I need work. Well, I need money. And if I get, there's one other job I could go for that I could probably get that I know of right now. If I go for it, it's not really good because, it's like 5 minutes away from where I live. That would make for a terrible podcast. Speaking of, my pod friend mentioned he might want to do a podcast with me. Because, I don't know. He wants to do a video game podcast, which makes sense, but I don't know how we do that. We'd either have to be in person, or we'd either have to do it in person, or I'd have to figure out how to get a working setup going to record it. We both have laptops. We can use Discord there, and that should work, but that stuff's really specific with how it lets you record whose voice is getting recorded. So it's I have no idea how this is gonna go, I guess. And I don't even know if it's gonna happen realistically. It's just something he said. And he's listening to this, so man, it would be fun, but I have no idea how we do it. The technical stuff is complicated. I don't know how other people do it, and I don't know how we do it either. And, those other people who do it, they're famous. They have money and stuff. They have actual computers. We don't even have actual computers. We have laptops. It's not the same. I'd have to get my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh cards together and sell them so I could get enough money to, buy an actual computer. Even just one that you'd assemble, and you buy the pieces separately and assemble it yourself. Because I have experience with that. I do. And I have a monitor already, technically. It's what I use to play games, actually. So realistically, I just need an actual computer. I have well, I guess I need a keyboard too. I have a wireless mouse, that would work. I have speakers for a computer, which wouldn't really be important because I'd have to use a headset, which I have a headset that should work with a computer, as long as it's not super old. I could, if I had a computer, we could probably do it, without doing a similar thing to this. Which, I don't know how we'd really do it if it's just with my phone and recording it. Just because I don't know. It just seems kind of weird that way. I'm willing to try it, but I'm not making any promises, is what I'm really saying. Anyway, I had a interesting thought when I was on my way to work today, and so this is going back to sort of the roots of the podcast, but it's a sort of a deep philosophical or whatever question I guess. And I don't get this way all that often. Like, it's usually if I'm just by myself and specific music makes my head think differently. And so tonight, as it's raining and it's dark, I thought it would be perfect. And also it's becoming fall, so just generally darker mood, darker atmosphere. But real quick before I get into that, I just want to say I've been playing Season 3 of Multiverses, and I've been really enjoying it. I think Multiverses, or I guess Player First Games, what it seems like they're doing is they are they make a plan for the season and stuff, and they'll stick with that plan for the entire season, but they'll take constant feedback into making the next season during that season and stuff. And so they're always willing to take feedback and stuff, which is really cool. And from what I can tell so far, the season's just started, so we'll have to see. The Powerpuff Girls are really fun. I love playing them. I really want to max out this battle pass, because if you max it out, you get the Rowdy Rough Boy skin, which is the gender bend, the canon gender bend version. Because they're not actually a gender, well, they are, but they're not. They're like evil clones or something. I don't remember. I watched the show when I was really young, and I haven't seen the new one. But so this weird philosophical question thingy that harkens back to the early days of the podcast. So this is something I have been thinking about for a long time, but the origin of certain questions, I guess. I don't know if this is even going to get to the actual question, because I'm honestly not even sure if I want to talk about the question. It's really weird to talk about, but I guess what is an origin of a question? Like, not the original way it was said or whatever. For a question that you have been unable to answer, when were you first asked it? Do you remember? Because I guess I can. I don't remember exactly how it went down, but in my first elementary school, of which I moved in between 2nd and 3rd grade to a different area, so I went to a different school, elementary school at that point. But when I was in my first elementary school, we went on a field trip to the nearby fire station, where we got to learn about being a fireman or whatever. And it was super fun and interesting. And I think I might have said at some point that I really wanted to be like a fireman or whatever. Which, I was a little kid. You'd always say stuff like that after you do pretty much anything. Like, you come out of just seeing a movie and you're just like, oh, I'm the main character of this movie, pew pew, or whatever. I don't know. Like, more or less I was like that. And I think because that field trip lasted a little bit over the school time, so we were either taken home by our parents, or our parents were there to pick us up or something, because it wasn't too far away from the school either. And I think this was before school shootings really became... This is pretty much definitely before school shootings were widespread as they are in America. And all that stuff. I never heard of it, I mean, there's all this stuff now about it, which is oh my gosh, it's scary that you have to get your kids Kevlar stuff. That's crazy. I understand that school sucks for a lot of kids, but oh boy, that's a little too much. Don't get me wrong, it's necessary for their safety, but the shooters end is you can hate school, but that's not, and you can have issues with but that is a lot that is too much. And some people are just crazy. I don't know. That's not what I'm here to talk about, really. But, it was just like your parents picked you up, or maybe my parents chaperoned that one. Because, when you go on field trips, you have to get a permission slip, and then, there's always that optional thing for the parent of like, do you want to chaperone? Can you chaperone? We're looking for this many people, or adults, or whatever. And, it was right in town and stuff, so super close to the school. And I think when we were leaving, I don't know if it was my mother or maybe it was my grandmother, maybe. That would make more sense because my mother and father worked during the day. The school day, anyway. Maybe she picked me up for a dentist appointment, actually. That could have been it. But I think it was somebody asked me, so is that what you want to be when you grow up? And that question, though framed differently, has been asked to me many times in my life. And every time, I think, except for maybe the first one or two times where it's just like, they ask you after you experience, like, you look at something cool and you're just like, well, I want to do that, like, minus those when you're like too young to really understand the question. I've never truly been able to answer that question, and I think it's a very important question to answer, and I don't know, it's been evident to me that other people think this way as well. I think something that connected to me a lot was, so it's spoilers, I guess, for Steven Universe, but in the sequel to Steven Universe Future, it's Steven is trying to adjust to his life without being as needed anymore, and he doesn't know where he fits in because he starts to realize he is sort of alone in what he's done, because he wasn't raised normally. He didn't go to school. He was homeschooled, technically, because, to be fair, how would you explain Steven's mom? She wasn't on, like, any record, probably. That's a whole can of worms, and, like, I'd assume even in Steven Universe they have, like, the people who take away your children if you're not good to them or don't take care of them or whatever. I forget what they're called. But in that, Steven has essentially a mental breakdown, like, slowly, because he slowly starts to realize that he has no idea what he wants to do, because his whole life he thought he was going to be helping the crystal gems, fighting off the corrupted gems and bubbling them and stuff. And, he did that for a while, but then he solved that. And then he, like, taught a lot of gems how to, be not, I don't know. He did the kindergarten or preschool or whatever the gem school was called. I don't remember. But that's basically handled, and so he's just sort of in this state where he doesn't really have a set of skills to do anything in particular, or he doesn't, like, he's strong and he has superpowers and stuff, but, like, and he can sing and dance and play some instruments, most instruments probably, but, like, none of that is really stuff that he would think of as a job, I guess, or could be applied to, like, an actual job or his future. And so he sort of devotes himself to Connie's future and wants to become the fusion of Steven and Connie permanently. And Connie doesn't outright say no, but she says she still wants to live her own life for a while. and Steven doesn't take it very well, yada yada yada. Long story short, it's not something that I'm not the only one who doesn't know. But the issue is that the future is now, old man. I am no longer a child. I no longer, like, I don't know. As a kid, like, the idea of work was not something I wanted to think about, because who wants to work? It doesn't make any sense. I didn't know about YouTubers at that time. I don't know. I didn't really get access to the internet till late, like, I don't know, like 5th grade? 4th, 5th grade? And then, you know, just, I don't know, I'm just trying to set the, like, so you know my situation, because a lot of people have experienced things differently. I didn't know that was an option, and even then it's like, you know, obviously nowadays it's like, it's almost impossible, because even if you do start something, you have to get popular with it. Like this, I don't think anyone really watches this, except for my friend, which is cool. But like, I didn't really make this for other people, I don't think. That's not why I believe I started this. I started the Drive Home podcast because I thought maybe I can do something with this time while I'm driving home. And I'm all by myself. I'm not doing much. I always have interesting thoughts when I'm driving home by myself, usually, because I'm always listening to music that makes me think. It's music that reminds me of shows, and if I'm not thinking about stuff like that, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do tonight, how I'm going to do it, what I'm going to do tonight, play with friends, you know, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do for fun? Sometimes I think of interesting scenarios and interesting, like, thought-provoking questions. But I don't know. The origins of this are, like, I made this for myself, in a way. I don't think I'm ever going to listen to a single episode, but for one, if I get amnesia, this is a good thing. This will help. And because my pod friend knows about it, he'll be able to tell my amnesiac self that, hey, there's like a living memory of you, kind of. Because I don't keep a journal or a diary or anything. Well, everything I deal with internally. And my only outlets are playing video games, I guess. Having fun with friends. And I'm a relaxed person for the most part. I don't really have a temper. I used to have a pretty bad temper, I think. But usually it's just because, like, just stuff compounded a lot, constantly. And that was a lot. But that's not the point. The point is that I still don't know what I want to do in my life. And earlier on, I was like, once I discovered being a YouTuber was a thing, I was like, man, that sounds fun and easy. Like, I get to play games. That's my job. That's awesome. It doesn't really work like that anymore. Not really sure if it ever did. But, you know, I don't know if that matters. What matters isn't necessarily what you do with your life, or what you choose to do, I guess. What you choose to go for. I just think that you need to have a clear goal or a clear destination in mind. Well, no, that's not true. That was a bunch of baloney. What I really think is that you need to pick something out. I don't care what it is. Everyone's their own unique person, but you need to pick something out that you want to do. My podcast friend, he wants to study dinosaur bones or something like that. But that's just what he dreams of doing. I don't know what he is exactly doing for that. He had some trouble with school, so, but I'm sure he'll get through it. Whew. Oh, this one's locked too. I'm just out of breath because I'm been carrying stuff, walking inside, walking outside, all that. But I think the importance of that question is that you need to think about it. You can't put it off. It's not something you can put off. I mean, it is, but it really doesn't end well. I mean, I work in a going nowhere job right now because I thought maybe I'll figure it out at some point. And so maybe I'll then quit my job or do whatever I do. Like, this is a job that you do as a side job. Like, if you have extra hours and you need more money. This isn't really a job you should be doing by itself. It's like, I like working where I do. It's fine. It's not great. I don't love it, but it works. I get paid, technically. But it's not something you need. I really should try and get another job, I should quit and I should go work somewhere else, really, is what I'm saying. But that doesn't always happen. And I'm scared of change, I think. I think it's an underlying fear. And I don't know if it's a fear of change or more that once I choose this thing, I won't be able to go back on it. At least to me, I won't. I was also kind of scared of getting a job for similar reason. I enjoyed having lots of free days to do whatever I wanted, to hang out with my friends or whatever. But at the same time, I didn't have any money, and I was making my mother worry, and it was not good. So, what I do now is, it was something at the time. It worked. It paid more. Well, I get paid more now, but I work less now, so it worsens out. To me, just generally getting paid less. You guys almost got a sneak peek at my house. I think I showed it off before, but I don't remember. I'm home, I'm in my house. And I'm tired, but I am gonna finish talking. So, I think long story short, this question is very important and I might bring it up again at a later date. But I think for now, the question is, it's important. I just, you need to answer it. And everyone's answer is not going to be the exact same. Some people are going to know what they're going to want to do from the get-go. And that's perfect. That's great. Don't just say what you want to do. Don't just do that. That's bad. Once you know what you want to do, you say what you want to do, and then you figure out the next steps to doing that. as someone who hasn't done that, who has said a couple of times, "This is what I want to do," and just never looked into it or done anything, I can tell you that that is some good advice. Honestly, like it's advice I wish I could give myself, which it could have given myself. But I'm lazy, so I'm not sure my past self would even care all that much. Well, it's my past self. If he knew it was future me talking, he would take it to heart. I have this weird thing where I just have this idea of, if I know that I'm talking to the future me or the past me, or if I have clones, which I don't, but that would be so cool, that just like, I would be chill. Like, I don't want to say responsible, because that's not true. No, not nearly enough. I'm responsible enough, but not too much. But, if I were to have clones or to see the future me, and they were, I don't know, the clones would listen to the non-clone or the creator or with the first clone or whatever. Like, they would suck, but like, that's life. That's why they were created. They would understand that. I would understand that. Well, I guess we would understand that because we all think the same, and that's how that would work. Like, clones betraying their like, as long as you're not a complete jerk to your clones, it should be fine. It's like, I don't know how it would work, because like with clones at that point you just get more jobs or something, because you can't really afford to pay for all those clones eating and living conditions without something happening. So, and once you've been cloned, your memories all are now separate. Anything you learn from that point on is separate. You have to learn how to share that stuff. Like, share experiences, share your friends, which is super weird to think about. But your friends are going to talk about stuff that you don't know about, but they think you know about, which is super weird. Because you have to share your friends with your clones. Because your clones, they're also friends with your friends. That's super weird. Right? Like, they have the exact same memories of you with all your friends. And maybe the clones will develop their own sub-personalities, like they do in lots of media and stuff, to be different from each other. But like, they're all still me. They're all going to listen to like the first me. And it's like, I'm not going to be a jerk to my clones. They're going to help me make my life easier. Like, we're all going to make our spirit bomb of lives easier, like our combined life. That's a confusing thing to think about and talk about. And it's kind of off topic. All I'm saying is that I really wish I had clones, because that would be cool. Or see myself from the future, because then he would give me advice. Or lottery numbers, which I don't know how that even works. So he would also have to explain that, because he would know that I would not know that. And time travel stuff is weird. I don't know. The question is very important, and I've gotten off track several times, which kind of sucks, because I wanna do some episodes that are kind of like the earlier ones, where it's a bit more darker, more serious. Less of this, it feels like fluff. I don't know. I like both, but I don't want to only do one and not the other. You know? Anyway, that should be all. But just to reiterate, if you don't know what your future holds, you need to figure that out. Do some research. Figure something out. If you want to go to college for a higher degree of learning, That's cool. Here's the thing, college is super expensive. I haven't gone to college and I don't plan to because I don't know what yet that I truly want to do. If you are going to go to college, make sure you know the risks. Going to college basically means you're going to be paying them for the rest of your life, probably. Unless if you become rich off of your job. But even then, the better paying ones usually, the better paying jobs usually require you to pay more money for school. So, like, my parents offered to pay for me to go to a college or something, or I could go to a community college. And I was just like, I don't know what I want to do. So, I'm not going to go to a college just yet. I can always go later. You can go online these days. I'd rather go in person because that's how I learn better. And just generally, I figured out during COVID that learning does not work for me on a computer in my house. It just doesn't. Like, I need to be in a place that is like telling me to learn. But that's besides the point. What I'm saying is that if you don't know what you want to do, don't put anything towards stuff that won't like. So I had in my last year of high school, I had a finance teacher. He was funny, and he's pretty cool, and he taught us a lot of valuable information. A lot, and so it's like money management and stuff, and I'm able to take away a lot from that, and I'm been trying to use it, but I'm very bad at that. But what I am good at is remembering what he taught me that I haven't used, and so one of the most important things is if you don't know what you want to do for your like full time job, like you'll do this job until you retire kind of job or you get fired, I guess, and then you go find another place to do the exact same thing, then your best bet is to only go to college once you actually know that you need to go to college for this thing, because college is expensive. It will take your money, and if you like flunk out, I think you still have to pay a lot. Just generally, if you're gonna go to college, make sure you're going to commit to it. It's a lot of money, and it would be a waste if you don't get the most out of it. So make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you find the college that works for you. Make sure you find something that you know you're going to want to and you're not going to want to change halfway through. Because you can do that, but it's not as recommended. You'll probably learn this stuff later in life anyway, but definitely figure out what you want to do and take a couple steps towards starting that. Even if it's just like telling your parents, this is what I want to do when I grow up. I want to be this. I want to do this for a living. That, or tell your friends, or tell somebody. Like, just don't do nothing. Because that will come back to bite you. Like it pretty much has for me. Like, I'm doing this. This isn't going to go anywhere, probably. It's fine. If it doesn't, I don't care. This is more for me. And so I can say a couple things and kind of just let my thoughts out. I guess. Like, even just speaking into the void. But at least it's useful for someone, maybe, eventually. It doesn't matter. Everything and nothing matters at the same time, and that's only half of life, somehow. The other half is how you enjoy it and how you live with it, so. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, or this episode. It's not really a video, there's no. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Drive Home Podcast. If you did, I hope you'll leave a like. If you like me talking about the more serious stuff, getting into questions like that, and or like the good versus evil debate. I think I did forever ago. Or there was another similar thing. So I know there was the good versus evil debate, but there was some other stuff. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed it, leave a like. If you don't, you don't have to. But, tell me how you feel in the comments about me doing the more, like, asking the tougher questions to myself. Because that's always fun. I think I've strained my voice for enough today. So thank you all for listening to this episode of the Drive Home Podcast for the final time for this episode. And I will... Man, I should come up with a cool catchphrase for the last bit, because I don't think I have one. I don't remember having one. I have to listen to all the episodes, and I'm just too lazy. I don't have enough time either. Anyway, hope you guys have a great next 24 hours, because a day could be anywhere from the next couple hours to the rest of the day. But either way, this is a guaranteed next 24 hours. Whole 24 hours. It's better. It's what I always say. I guess. I do try and say it. Sometimes if it's just like normal people, they'll end up just saying normal stuff. But if it's among friends, I'm saying... I mean, normally you don't even say that. It's just like, bye, have a great time, or whatever. I don't know. Sorry. I'm just going on another tangent. That's not what I'm trying to do. So, I thank you all for listening for the actual final time this time, I swear. And I hope you'll join me all next time for other random stuff. I don't know. Probably it'll be Street Fighter 6 because Terry is coming out within the next week for me. For you guys, he'll already have been out, I believe. Because it's end of September, I think. So, I will talk to you guys in the next one. Goodbye.